Yo, wait a second. Let me add something. Let me add the chat here because I need to see the chat. There we go. All right, yo, what's going on? So I was just funny thing. I was just looking at Donald Trump or whatever on Google, and apparently he was born in the Jamaica Hospital Medical Center in New York, which pisses me off because I'm Jamaican. So, whoever was working that day and whoever decided to name the hospital Jamaica needs to fight me. By the way, when I look over here, I'm looking at chat. When I'm looking over here, I'm looking at my actual screen. Now, based on the numbers in the polls, which were largely accurate in Georgia, the betting odds, which surprisingly favor the Dems, and the second thing with Trump. Yeah, I mean, the scandal with Trump. Yeah, I think Democrats, especially according to the polls, they do have an edge in the race, but we're going to get to that later on. A lot of shit is going down right now. First of all, welcome to the live, and welcome back to my channel. We're going to keep going with the 3 people watching. Yeah, I understand. Because, no, that's going to start changing soon because of what I'm planning on doing is damn near streaming daily on here. And yeah, so what we're going to be talking about today is basically Trump has shit the bed yet again because it's not surprising at this point. The runoff in Georgia is happening tomorrow between John Ossoff and David Perdue, and then Raphael Warnock and Kelly Loeffler, which the Democrats do have a slight edge, but I'm still kind of weary on the polls based on election night and everything like that. You've been subbed for a long time. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. But yeah. So, firstly, I kind of want to see what Twitter is going to be saying about this. Because I want to, let me enlarge this first of all, because chat needs to get large. But I kind of want to see what Twitter is going to be saying about this, because I know on one half, I was reading an article about, it could put him in legal jeopardy. I was reading an article about, like, the shit that he was saying and stuff, and the most outrageous lines. I kind of want to see, I want to check his Twitter. We're not acting to thwart the democratic process. We're acting to protect it. Imagine they try to impeach him a second time. It won't work, but, like, my guy, you just straight up talked to the Secretary of State in Georgia and tried to count up and try to, like, find random ass votes because you lost. Hold on, let me find what I was reading. In case you guys didn't know. So basically what happened is Trump, you voted for Trump? Oh, hell, I'm disappointed. But basically, effectively what happened is that Trump, got on the phone with the Secretary of State from Georgia, and I'm pretty sure, I forgot, it was like an hour-long phone call in which he effectively, like, tried to ask him to just, like, find him votes. And it's not really the best look. I'm sorry when I go silent sometimes just because I'm trying to fix up some things. It's not really the best of looks. He effectively got on the phone and was like, he wants to find 11,780 votes, because that's one more than what we need to, like, win or whatever, because he's saying he won the state by a lot. So I guess in his fucked up mind, he thinks he's being generous by only giving himself a 1 vote win because he says he won it by, like, 500,000 votes, which no the fuck he didn't. So he's saying that, and then he said, it wouldn't be too bad, or people in Georgia are angry with you, talking to, like, the Secretary of State, and he's like, it's not that bad if you just say you recalculated. And these are supposed to be the people who love America and love democracy, right? The fuck? I disagree, but your beliefs are beliefs. What are we talking about? What are y'all arguing about? Oh, Biden's a little better than Trump. Yeah, no. Biden is not. Biden and Trump They're both bad to me, obviously, because I'm further left than both of them. But Biden is immeasurably better than Trump. It's not a competition. But I also wanted Bernie to be the nominee. But let's find the 37 most outrageous lines from Trump's hour-long phone call. I fucking hate Chris Cillizza, but I want to hear what he said. Nah. I might as well just read it. Was this the piece that I read from CNN that basically was just like a snappy comeback to every single thing he said? Yeah. Let's talk about this bullshit. So, coming from the fucking party of people who are meant to love democracy and love America and that, Trump says, we've won very substantially in Georgia. You see it even by rally size, frankly. We're getting 25 to 30,000 people a rally, and the competition would get less than 100 people. I don't know the validity of him getting less than 100 people, but if Joe Biden got less than 100 people, it'd probably be because he's a fucking competent person who knows that a pandemic's happening and wouldn't gather 30,000 people in a crowd, because that, as the President of the United States, you should know that that's not what the fuck you're meant to be doing right now in the middle of a pandemic. So, let me move this over here. So, yeah. That's not really a point in your column. And if you think that crowd size is an indication that you won the state, my guy Bernie was pulling bigger crowds than Biden by a mile. Bernie was pulling the biggest crowds. He lost. Like, I just like the things he set up for blacks. Please don't get mad at me. I'm not going to get mad at you, but just know that unless you can name me something that he did for blacks, he hasn't done shit. When it comes to opportunity zones, I know people love to point to opportunity zones are literally just giving an untold amount of tax incentives to corporations to set up in underprivileged areas, which effectively becomes what's the term called? When they rise the price of everything and it forces people out of their houses. Why can't I think of the term? What the hell is the term? Inflation, oh. Yeah, gentrification. There we go. Thank you. Oh my god, I couldn't fucking think of it. Gentrification. Yeah, so basically, the opportunity zones that they always point to is effectively gentrification on steroids. Because what it does is it gives tax incentives and tax breaks to corporations so they can set up in wealthy areas, and the idea behind it is, oh, maybe it'll give these people jobs. Well, effectively, no, because they're still going to be hiring people who are more qualified, because just because you set up in a lower privileged area doesn't automatically mean that those people living there are qualified to work the job. So it's not really going to give much jobs to those people. It's just going to make the cost of living there go up, and it's going to drive out the poor people out of their houses so they can set up fancy condominiums. And there was a study done that showed that the opportunity zones in Houston in particular, like in the 13 most populous areas where they did it, those are the top 13 that are set up for gentrification in the next 10 years now due to those. So, yeah, it's not really a good thing. The Platinum Plan was a talking point that he threw out there, just saying, if you vote for me, then you'll get this, even though he had 4 years to do it. And the only thing he did was a First Step Act that was underfunded, as his DOJ was undercutting it and locking people back up who had just got freed under the act. So yes, do not get it twisted. He has not done shit for black people. And people are still scared of socialism. Exactly, because Americans, we went through a very long time in this history where even talking about socialism wasn't, would get you in prison, the McCarthy era and shit. So a lot of Americans, especially older ones, are still scared shitless of that term, even though they have no clue what the hell they were fighting against, because they weren't fighting against a country who was having their workers own the means of production and worker co-ops everywhere and then decided to invade America. No, they're fighting against dictatorships and people who are fucking crazy. So they have a socialist leader. Yeah, honestly. If Bolivia can actually thrive and nothing happens to their president and they don't get fucking cooed by us or some other Western power or even within, then Bolivia is going to be on a good track. Because I swear they had a socialist president for like 8 years and everything was cool. And then we like fucking did some shit and deposed him, and then there was a fascist for a while. And now they're back to socialism. Atlanta area, somewhat gentrified, yeah. But getting back to these, apparently Trump believes that because he had bigger crowd size, that means that he must have won the election. Which that's not how any fucking thing works. I'm not gonna read Chris Cilliz's corny ass comebacks because I still hate him and he's corny. We have at least 2 or 3, anywhere from 250 to 300,000 ballots were dropped mysteriously into the rolls. Much of that had to do with Fulton County, which hasn't been checked. It's bullshit. He's talking about early votes. They didn't just randomly phantom create 250,000 votes, but he thinks that all the world's against him. I'm gonna get to the B quotes that we're here for. Thousands of people voting, dead people, the suitcase shit, out of state voters. I know you would like to get to the bottom of it, although I saw you on television today and you said that you found nothing wrong. I mean, you know and I know I didn't lose the state, Brad. Yes, the fuck you did, Donnie. I don't know what to tell you. Like, what are we talking about? He only has a bigger COVID. Exactly, he only has bigger crowd size because he wasn't doing social distancing. Exactly. Like, it's not, you're begging. He actually just unironically bragged about how fucking negligent he's been during the pandemic. People are going to say, oh, the COVID's not his fault, which, yeah, it would have hit here, but if we had someone as bad as Hillary is, she wouldn't have fucking held 30,000 people rallies when in the middle of COVID, when everyone is advised to do social distancing. Reason why Joe Biden was getting 100 people, maybe, which is still false. Reason why he would get 100 people anyways, because he has common sense, and he's like, maybe I can't have a packed out arena of 50,000 people because people will start dying. Like, of course Trump doesn't care about the people. He doesn't even care about the people. He only entertains the people who are fans of him. People were saying it's the highest vote ever. There's no way. A lot of the political people said there's no way they beat me. A lot of the political people. Coming from the fucking political person in the country. The president. And yes, I don't have a stand for my mic. A lot of the political people said. A lot of the political people. And yes, it would make sense that Democrats would win then if it's the highest vote ever. Because when you maximize turnout, Democrats win. Because there are more Democrats than Republicans. And demographic changes means that more people will start voting for Democrat even more. As you know, every single state, we won every state. Okay. We won the House. So dead people vote, and I think the number is close to 5,000 people. The 5,000. It's just so convenient that 5,000 people happen to die, and after they voted or voted in or came back to life. I don't fucking know. Okay. Okay. It just so happens that 5,000, there's literally never even been close to 5,000 dead people who have ever voted in any election. But apparently in this one, because Big Donnie lost. Yeah, I still can't believe over 70 million people are that stupid that they voted for Trump. But what are we going to do about it? They think that Democrats are all socialists and stuff. Only way we make progress in this country is when the Republicans become politically inept. They're already politically inept, but politically irrelevant in that they don't win any more elections at all. That's the only way we can start making progress. Because the real battle should be against leftists and Democrats, but we're stuck here having to back Democrats as we fight against the way more obvious threat being the Republicans. They're burning ballots. No, they're not. Not the only one. Flipping to us very shortly. Nope. In Pennsylvania, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we won every state. Wait, we won the state and we won it substantially. No, you didn't. Because of the difference. Here it is. Quote number 24. The bullshit. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying, that you've recalculated. Remember back when they impeached him the first time and it was the whole, oh no, quid pro quo because you guys have no proof that I actually said anything on the phone call and shit. And now it's literally the guy is just flat out saying, I want you to do me a favor and I want you to find these votes and you could just come out and say you recalculate. Like, and I know Republicans are going to play stupid like they always do and say like, oh, he didn't explicitly say, I want to go fucking hack and create random ass votes. He said, just say you recalculated, which means that he obviously didn't have any come on now. He gives directions like a fucking mob boss. The mob boss isn't gonna just go out and say, hey, go kill the guy. They're gonna be like, man, he was talking a little bit too much. Think you should silence him or something like that. Or, hey, it'd be in your best interest to stop talking. Trump's stupid, but he's not that stupid. He's not gonna get on a phone call that will be public record and say, hey, I want you to manufacture fake votes so I can win the election. He's going to say, just say you recalculated. And then all the Republicans turn their heads and we're crazy for calling anything out. And they're still the starch defenders of democracy as their guy is a fucking fascist. Most of the 70 million people who vote for him are either people who just want a Republican president, single-issue voters, pressured to vote for him, and Trumpers. Yeah. Or just plain old idiots. It's very, very annoying. I'm sorry, I did down that Sprite. That Sprite was super good. Where's the one? There's no way I lost Georgia. Yes, the fuck it is. Oh, shit, I didn't go back to my react. Okay. Yep, and here comes the gaslighting and shit. And flipping the state is a great testament to our country because you know, when wait. I'm sorry. Trump is so incoherent that I can't even read him in text form. And flipping the state is a great testimony to our country because you know, it's a testament that they can admit to a mistake or whatever you want to call it. Dog! Yes, it's a testament to our great country where someone loses an election and then you bitch about it for a month and then they flip the election results because you said, no, you fucking cluck. Oh my god. Let me see here. It's comedic how much he keeps getting the fucking number wrong. 17,779, 11,770, 11,779. The dude keeps getting the fucking vote wrong. Oh, this isn't social media. This is Trump media. It's not social media. It's really not. It's not social media. Oh, he's sad. Oh, he's a fucking child. Oh my god, he's a child. The dude is hurt because he realized how short 4 years is and he thought he was on top. And now he's gone. Trump saying he doesn't care about social media. Makes sense. Makes sense. Cope. Let's see here. Where is the one? Where's the quote I'm looking for? Hold on. The 11,780, what's it called? Why can't I find it? Why can't I find it? The quote where the dude was like, "Hey, what I want to do is fucking find 11,700 votes or whatever." There's no way I lost Georgia. That dude is coping. Like, this is the amount of copium that's like being inhaled right now can only be described as abundant. That's the amount of fucking copium that they're inhaling right now. I don't understand. Like, you guys get another shot in 4 years. It's crazy to me. Why the hell don't CNN have? I knew CNN was shit. I'm joking. Yep. I don't know how this guy didn't think that this was about to. Okay, here. I'm sorry, my leg. I just want to fucking. This is. Okay, here we go. At another point, Trump said, "So look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have because we won the state." He just asked. Let me see here. He asked the fucking Secretary of State to just find 11,780 votes. This is like fucking fascist shit. It might not be that he's like actually putting in any policies that are but like this is a fascist tendency. The fact that the democracy voted you out and you can't deal with that so much to the extent that you're like begging your like fucking buddies in Congress to find you votes. Oh shit. To like just find you votes out of thin air. When they literally have spent the whole time claiming left, right, and center that the Democrats have been trying to steal the election. Now, if we bring this up, you think that any Republican or any Trump is going to actually acknowledge the shit? No. Hell no. They're going to just they're going to play stupid and be like, oh, well, what he said there was actually, but then they literally find a 144p video of somebody throwing away some mail, assume it's ballots, and then talk about how the Democrats are corrupt. I heard there are GOP senators lined up to reject the results of the election on Wednesday, and conservatives keep throwing around that means something. Yeah. They actually think that, like, it's funny because I've actually been gaslit, or people tried to gaslight me multiple times into believing that I don't know what electoral politics are or how it works. The amount of times I've talked to, like, trumpets and I'm like, yeah, it's over. Like, because once election night happens and they call, like, they make the projection. This isn't the media deciding who is president. They say, okay, based on the outstanding votes and what we believe will happen because of the way people have already voted, it's over. There's no path for one person becomes president. And that's how it's always been. Oh shit, I turned my flashlight on. That's how it's always been. And you know, on like a few nights after when they call it, you know, okay, yeah, no, it's over. There's nothing they can do about it at this point. But now people are in my comment section telling me, oh, you don't know how electoral politics works. The Electoral College hasn't convened yet, which means... Like, what? They had to broadcast California counting its electoral votes for, like, the first time ever. They never broadcast that shit. They only do election night, and then, like, if it goes past election night, they continue, like, doing that. They never broadcast the Congress meeting for everyone to, like, well, actually, they do broadcast, but it's on C-SPAN, and no one watches it. But they never had to until people lost, and they couldn't take the loss so badly that they had to question everything in the process, talking about, it's not over... The media doesn't decide the election, fucking we do. And they were like, well, we decided and we voted. Well, we don't decide, the Supreme Court does. The Supreme Court said they don't want to hear it. The Supreme Court doesn't decide, the Electoral College does. Electoral College decided, they don't decide it, the Congress does. Like, People try to gaslight me into thinking that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about when they are literally have 2 brain cells left. I just wonder how Christian Walker is going to be after Wednesday. It's hilarious. Why is conservatism even a thing? It's probably a brain disease of some sort. That was a joke before someone holds that against me in the future. Christian Walker will be having a massive meltdown. He probably is right now. He's probably on the phone with Trump, and they're probably crying together. Yeah, 11,000 votes is small, but it's a fair-ass margin. And it's tough. You couldn't hold on to Georgia. That's how shit you are. You couldn't hold on to Georgia, Trump. That's not my problem. That's not anyone else's problem. That's tough on you, mate. Oh, shit. I moved my screen. You know, Christian Walker is an actual massive clown. But yeah, so if you've learned anything from this shit, this is fascist shit. This is fascist shit. And I can't wait to go. Actually, let me read this shit on Twitter. I kind of want to find what's going on Twitter. If you haven't already followed me, this is me. Go follow me. Indeed. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Rumors Trump might flee to Scotland the day before the inauguration, possibly an attempt to avoid prosecution in New York by hopping elsewhere. That's tough. Yeah, and they hate Trump too. Fight for President Trump. Keep fighting for the Senate. Fight for Trump! Fight for Trump! Fight for Trump! Fight for Trump! Let's just take a minute. Look at all the whiteness. Fight for Trump! Fight for Trump! Fight for Trump! Fight for Trump! This crowd is why people like Christian Walker exist. Because when you find one darker skinned person, then you can hold them up as a fucking trophy and say, look, we're not racist. But when you go to a rally, look at this shit. Fight for Trump! I'm actually trying to look for someone who's black. She might be black, but I don't even know if she's a Trump supporter or just a reporter. Trump! Fight for Trump! Fight! Nope, she's white. Never mind. For Trump! Fight for... I can't see a single person of color in this. Yeah. Really, this is the party of people. This is the party of the minorities. All the minorities should really be voting for these guys. When you stand with Trump, you stand with a man who caged children. You stand with a man who pardoned child killers. You stand with a man who attacked American war veterans. You stand with the man who sold out the USA to Russia. You stand with Jeffrey Epstein. Tough. In a distasteful act, more than 120 Republicans are going to stand and present fraudulent evidence in Congress. Oh... Bro, that's what I'm saying. We can't go anywhere until the Republicans are politically irrelevant. Yeah, white will be a minority. As in, it will be like 49% white, and then all the other demographics, black, Hispanic, Asian, will all add up to about 51%. And you know how many trumpets and stuff at that time are going to be pulling the, oh, I guess we're oppressed now because we're minorities, like... No, the day that happens is gonna be so shit. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. There are about 140 Republicans. Bro, I mean, they're trying to save their asses, but that just shows how much of a spineless, like, coward they are. Why are we allowing them in Congress if you're going to sit there and back Trump, even against the law, against all logic, against all evidence, because you want to keep getting elected? A, term limits would make sure that you guys couldn't even fucking do that. B, literally, fuck you. B, you're supposed to work for us, and you're standing against the will of the people in order to try to save your ass the next time you try to run for president, or the next time you run for your Congress seat, so you can pander to all your, like, 3 fans talking about how, oh, well, I stood with Trump, and when Trump runs in 2024, so you can have a little, like, backup plan. You're literally a slimy piece of shit. Indigenous people would be the majority in an alternate timeline. Yep. I don't know why I just fucking sneeze. What I might do is I might see if I can get on a chord and, like, just talk to some people or talk to my friends about this shit. How are we doing today, guys? Yeah, they would have no exactly. They wouldn't have representation without the Electoral College, and good, because they don't do shit but make people's lives worse. Okay, I can't open Discord, so the only Republican I kind of tolerate are Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, and they're both still pieces of shit. The only reason why I'm not as hard on them anymore is because they're kind of out of the spotlight now because fucking they're not running for president. Trump has still been golfing throughout this pandemic. I don't know why the fuck he's fighting so hard to still be president. He doesn't even do the shit. He likes the attention, and he likes being the top dog in the Republican Party. He's gonna cause a lot of people not to vote in 2024. Hopefully, 2016 was the last Republican election, or the last Republican president. Honestly, I beg, because Trump is gonna drag the whole party down with him in an attempt to stay on top. He already started beefing with Mitch McConnell, which for all the fucking wrong reasons, by the way. But he's already started doing that because when Trump walks out the door, Mitch McConnell's gonna be the top Republican again. So. Yeah, the voter suppression, the Electoral College, and gerrymandering are the only reason why Republicans still exist on the national stage. Their ideology is outdated and fucking barbaric. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they could damn near impeach him again over it. They won't. It's only a couple days till inauguration. There's no point wasting the money and the time and shit. But Trump's back at it again, being more obviously like a dictator this time because he knows that his time's coming to an end. So this kind of his last-ditch effort to try to, like, fucking drag everyone under with him before he goes. He's trying to go out with a fucking bang. And the only thing he's going to go out with is a little less toupee hair. That was corny, and I sound like a CNN anchor. Leave me be, do not flame me for that. But, in other words, the actual good thing. The Georgia runoffs. Oh yeah, I was reading the thing about that. So, funny, there's actually a website, I forgot where it is, but there's actually a website talking about how Kelly Loeffler's losing or falling behind to a socialist. Like, they're both so brain dead, especially Kelly Loeffler. She's literally brain dead. That I mean, Republicans in general can't distinguish between left ideologies. But, like, if you watch the debate, the only thing she says is radical liberal Raphael Warnock over and over again. It's so So trash. And like, I don't understand how people literally look at that and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna vote that in off." Like, what do you have to be on? But let's look at some of the polls. 538 has Ossoff up 1.6 on Purdue now. Again, it's still a 50-50. But yeah, I'm just shaky. Like, John Ossoff and AOC are about to be the most popular members, like, of Congress, and Ossoff might not even be a member of Congress. Like, him and his social media team are hilarious. I had more followers than him up until recently, and he just surpassed me. But yeah, no, John Ossoff he's great. He's great. And he's a good debater. He's a good debater. I love when Trump was like, Biden's gonna listen to the scientist. Bruh, it was funny. I was watching a clip back in the day of Obama, and he was talking about how when he was running against McCain, some people had asked him, like, what can I individually do to, like, stop climate change and shit, or like to reduce climate change? And he said one thing you can do that he got to by the scientists that let him know is, like, if you inflate your tire pressure to, like, the correct pressure, then it saves, like, a lot of gas, and it's less thing that you're emitting into the air and shit. And Republicans laughed, like, and they, like, started giving out little, like, tire pressure gauges and stuff. I'm like, you do know that was what the science, like, you guys are just admitting that you're anti-science, but then you try to find any out of context fucking study that might say what you say it does, it never ends up saying what they say it does, because if we take a picosecond of research into it, turns out it was fucking bullshit. Ossoff is like a better O'Rourke than Obama, but Ossoff isn't as annoying as Beto O'Rourke. Eagles sell lost. I don't pay attention to football like that, so no, I did not see that. And Reverend Warnock is still ahead of Kelly Loeffler. He's been ahead of her since, like, ever. I was saying, because if you look at the original election, Warnock won, but, like, the second and third place candidates were both Republican. So I'm like, oh, maybe if you add those up, then he could have actually lost. But, like, all the other candidates from there on out are all Democrats. And if you add up their totals, it looks like it was going to be close regardless how the people who voted. So both elections are going to be close, and we need both to, like, control the Senate. Yeah, I don't know what people keep, on the Republican side at least, I find that people keep voting shit Republicans in because they don't ever talk about policy. Republicans never really talk about policy. They always have to come at it from, like, a culture war, and don't you not like the SJWs? Don't you not like the transgender? Like, they always have to come at it at that angle, because if you talk about policy, you realize that the policies are actually hurting regular Americans. So, that's why I keep voting. I find in the Democrat column, there are more and more people who are getting more and more, like, further to the left, which means that Democrats just find themselves in a position where they have a normal milquetoast Democrat, and a lot of lefties end up voting for them just because Republicans are literally just, they don't benefit anything. So why would Kentuckians vote in Michigan? That's what I was going to say. First of all, I don't get why if you live in Kentucky and you vote for Mitch McConnell, you're actually weird. Your state is, like, still some of the poorest, and he hasn't done anything about it because Republicans aren't capable of doing anything about it. But I heard there was going to probably be an investigation into his election, because it was, like, there was, like, I don't remember the specifics, but, like, yeah, it's looking fishy. Yeah, Georgia's gonna be a toss-up. I'm sorry I'm yawning all the time. I'm freaking tired. But, you know, if you're watching this and you're in Georgia, you need to go vote, like, immediately. Like, immediately, because we cannot afford to lose the Senate, honestly. If we want Joe Biden to even follow through on a little bit of what he promised, even though it's not all what we want, we have to get him. We have to get that Senate, because he can't pass shit without the Senate. I don't like the fact that I keep yawning. Gosh dang it, I apologize. Here, let me see here. Uh-oh. Wrong thing, let me go. Let's see here. Merch, they released it.
Need a professional logo for your brand? I've used the new Wix logo maker to create one for my startup. I'll show you how.
We're going to begin with this, a stunning phone call where President Trump is heard pressuring officials to overturn the election that he lost. CBS News has obtained audio of the president asking Georgia's Republican Secretary of State, Mr. Raffensperger, to, quote, find thousands of votes that he would need to win.
And of course, it's only the latest gambit in a months-long effort to keep power against the will of the American people. Ben Tracy's at the White House for us. Ben, good morning to you. Some Democrats, but also some legal experts say this could actually be criminal behavior. What exactly did the president say on that call?
Well, good morning. In this remarkable phone call, the president does vaguely threaten the state election officials, implying that they could be prosecuted for not doing what he wants. And President Trump says he wants Georgia to address his claims ahead of the runoff elections there tomorrow.
There's nothing wrong with saying that, you know, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
In a stunning phone call this weekend, first obtained by the Washington Post, President Trump pressures Georgia's Republican Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, to find enough votes to overturn President-elect Joe Biden's win.
Biden has received 16,
handing the state's 16 electoral votes to him instead.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes. So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this. And it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it.
We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right.
Dude, he's such a child because he can't accept that he lost. Like, oh my God, it's just like you lie and like tell your parent, not your parent, you tell your teacher like, oh, I couldn't do the homework or whatever because my dog ate it, as she pulls the fucking math sheet with your full name and 2 + 2 on it out of your bag and holds it in front of you. You're like, I just couldn't do it. My dog ate it. It's not fair for you to grade me like this. It's not fair. I just wanted to find the answer sheet online, because my dog ate the home. Like, dude, he's such a kid, and the dude just has to be like an adult. Like, our numbers are correct, your numbers are wrong, and it's actually kind of sad. It's depressing. I just went to find 11K votes. Wow, exactly? Not a shortage of idiots in this world at all.
Georgia has now counted their ballots 3 times, declaring Mr. Biden the winner each time. The Trump campaign has failed repeatedly to prove any of their allegations in court, and there is no credible evidence of fraud. On the phone call, the president continued to make allegations that have been debunked.
Mr. President, the problem you have with social media, people can say anything.
No, this isn't social media. This is Trump media.
President Trump baselessly accused Raffensperger of a cover-up and threatened that he and his general counsel may be in jeopardy.
You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyers. That's a big risk.
It's a big risk.
Some Republicans are concerned the
illegal for
president's
you.
claims of fraud in Georgia will undermine faith in Tuesday's runoff elections, potentially costing his own party control of the U.S. Senate. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris campaigned for Democrats in the state Sunday and sharply criticized President Trump.
It was a bald-faced, bold abuse of power by the President of the United States.
Now, with concerns
I
that
still can't
President
believe she's
Trump
gonna be
may
vice
try to
president.
remain in office after January 20th, all 10 former living secretaries of defense, including the 2 that served in the Trump administration, wrote an op-ed saying efforts to involve the U.S. Armed Forces in resolving election disputes would take us into dangerous, unlawful, and unconstitutional territory. Now, today, President Trump, Vice President Mike Pence, and President-elect Joe Biden will all campaign in Georgia. Anthony?
Ben, thank you.
Click the honey button. Click
Shut
it.
up.
Click it. Click it.
Leave me alone. I do
Click
not want to
it.
click anything. Leave me
Here.
alone. Okay. So yeah, basically, fascist shit. I gotta adjust this seat because, like, my gaming chair still has yet to come, and this seat gets super uncomfortable when I sit on it for too long because it's like a fold chair. So annoying, but. Nevertheless, yeah, fascist shit is basically what I'm saying. Geico can save you 15% or more on car insurance. I can't play Among Us later because after I get here, I gotta do homework and stuff, and I'm super tired. But yeah. You want to know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of surprise. So basically, actually first I want to look at some clips from the debate with Raphael Warnock and Kelly Loeffler. Hold on. I'm sorry I typed very slow. I'm also tired, so. Kept trying to smear. Yeah, she did.
You've repeatedly praised Marxism and the redistribution of income. Can you here and now for all Georgians renounce socialism and Marxism?
She looked like a I'm not gonna do it.
Listen, I believe in our free enterprise system, and my dad was a small business owner. And during the Great Recession, you know what I was doing? I was leading my church to build a community center where, among other things, we had a financial literacy center that taught people how to repair their credit, create a 700 credit score community, how to create a business, how to buy a home, how to participate in our free enterprise system. Kelly Loeffler, on the other hand, was teaching the big banks how to hide their investments offshore in the Cayman Islands. This is how she spent her career before she went to the Senate. This is what she's been focused on now that she's in the Senate. She was only there 3 weeks. I'm not sure she was fully unpacked when she started dumping millions of dollars of stock trying to protect herself. And she purchased that seat. Yeah, it's done well for her. The issue is that the people who sold it to her don't own it. And the people of Georgia are coming back to get their seat.
My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, has called police officers gangsters, thugs, bullies, and a threat to our children. When I gave him the chance to apologize in our first debate, he declined. He's also said that you can't serve God and the military.
Didn't say that.
He's used the Bible to justify these types of attacks.
Didn't say
I was
that.
preaching that day from a very familiar Matthew text that says you can't serve God and mammon. It was a sermon about a moral foundation for everything that we do, and that when you have everything in order, that actually makes you a better soldier. It also makes you a better senator. And had Kelly Loeffler listened to the sermon rather than trying to make a cheap political point, she would not have used her advantage as a U.S. senator to make millions on a pandemic while playing it down to the people she was supposed to be representing.
I'm not going to be lectured by someone that uses the Bible to justify abortion, to attack women in the military.
I have a profound reverence for life and an abiding respect for choice. The question is, whose decision is it? And I happen to think that a patient's room is too small a place for a woman, her doctor, and the U.S. government. I think that's too many people in the room. But those who are concerned about life, and I certainly am, ought to be focused on the incredibly high rates of infant mortality and maternal mortality in our country when compared to other developed nations. That's something the government could work on, and I've been working on it my entire career.
My opponent does not stand with police officers. He's endorsed by organizations whose #1 goal is to defund the police.
Yes, you don't fucking understand what defunding the police means, so don't even try to talk about it. She's literally an NPC. She's an NPC. Thoughts on Sarah McBride? I honestly don't know who Sarah McBride is. She's actually transgender? If she is, then that's based. Okay, yeah. I don't know too much about Sarah McBride. I need to look into her policies and stuff. But if she's the first like transgender person elected, then that's cold, and that's insane. I love that.
He's called for our prisons to be opened up and emptied out.
No, he hasn't.
He's called for the abolishment of the cash bail system.
Yes,
but
he
land
has.
of the free is the mass incarceration capital of the world. We warehouse 25% of the world's prisoners. And people on both sides of the aisle know that our current criminal justice system needs reform. And we saw that this summer, a multiracial coalition of conscience pouring out into American streets after the tragic deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and so many others. And what did Kelly Loeffler do? She used her enormous privilege and power as a United States Senator to pick a fight with the black women on her team who know what it's like to grow up in a community where you have to have 2 talks with your children. One about the birds and the bees, and the other about what happens if you're pulled over by police officers. To acknowledge that is not to condemn police officers in general. I've worked with police across the years. I've been invited to speak at their memorial services when they've lost their lives in the line of duty. And she says she is against racism and that racism has no place, but she welcomed the support of a QAnon theorist, and she sat down with a white supremacist for an interview.
Get her stupid ass!
I don't think she can explain that.
I'd like to talk. My opponent, radical liberal. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Oh my god, that was fantastic. I actually kind of want to watch the full debate. Fuck it, we're watching the full debate. Strap in. It was a while ago, but I want to watch it.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Russ Spencer, evening anchor for Fox 5 in Atlanta, and you are watching the Atlanta Press Club Loudermilk Young debate series. We are broadcasting from the studio of Georgia Public Broadcasting
better
in
quality?
Atlanta, and we welcome viewers from across the state and the country. This is the runoff debate for U.S. Senate to fill the seat currently held by Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler.
Whatever.
And let's meet the candidates now. They are, in alphabetical order, Republican candidate Kelly Loeffler. She was appointed to the U.S. Senate in January of 2020 to replace retiring Georgia Senator Johnny Isaacson.
It's crazy because nobody voted for her ass. She got appointed.
Team, the Atlanta Dream. Democrat candidate Raphael Warnock is the senior pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. Ebenezer, of course, the church where Martin Luther King Jr. was pastor. Let's meet our panel now. Greg Bluestein is a political reporter with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And Lisa Ram is host and senior producer of NPR's Morning Edition on WABE Radio in Atlanta. Now let's get started. The topics were not shared with the candidates in advance. The debate will be divided into 3 rounds. And in each round, candidates will have 60 seconds to answer questions and 30 seconds for a rebuttal. And as moderator, I will determine when a rebuttal is appropriate. In the first round, candidates will be asked 2 questions each. And Greg, you get the first question to Senator Loeffler.
Senator Loeffler, thanks for joining us. President Trump opened his election rally last night by falsely claiming he won Georgia. He didn't. According to certified state election results, he lost the state by about 12,000 votes. Do you stand by his narrative that the election was rigged, and do you support his demand to call a special session to seek to overturn those results?
Well, first I want to thank the Atlanta Press Club for hosting this important debate. And look, it's vitally important that Georgians trust our election process, and the president has every right to every legal recourse, and that's what's taking place. But I've called for investigations, and now there's 250 investigations open here in Georgia. But the president was also clear that Georgians need to come out and vote for David Perdue and myself because of what's at stake in this election. You know, Chuck Schumer said, now we take Georgia, then we change America. We all know what that change would be. They've been very clear. They want to raise taxes on hardworking Georgians. They want to defund the police. They want to open our borders. They want to implement the Green New Deal.
Raise taxes on hardworking Americans. Yes, the hardworking people that sit back and buy 3 yachts as they don't do. We're not raising taxes on people who make $20,000 a year. It's people like you who's a fucking pandemic to enrich yourself. Yes, we want to implement the Green New Deal. I mean, you don't give a fuck about the planet, obviously, because if you did, you wouldn't be saying that stupid shit and using it as a talking point. The fact that they're so phobic to change is actually ridiculous to me. Because they just hear the word change and they fucking seize up as if they don't know. Like, it's crazy how people think like she does.
I'm fighting for every single Georgian to live the American dream that I was.
She'll say this for the next hour. I know she will.
Senator, did you believe the election was rigged?
Didn't even answer the question.
Look, Greg, it's very clear that there were issues in this election. There are 250 investigations open, including an investigation into one of my opponent's organizations, you know, for voter fraud. And we have to make sure that Georgians trust this process because of what's at stake in this election. You know, the promise that Chuck Schumer made was to fundamentally change America.
Again.
And I'm making sure that we don't go down the road of socialism.
Lisa, your turn to ask a question of Reverend Warnock.
Dr. Warnock, good evening.
Good evening.
As a pastor, there are those who are a little uncomfortable with someone switching from the pulpit to the Senate floor in Washington. If elected, how will you navigate the U.S. Constitution's edict separating church and state?
Thank you so very much. It's wonderful to be here, and I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. I also became aware that Senator Loeffler lost a member of her staff, and I want to extend my condolences to her and also to the family of that young man.
She has the same
my
expression no matter what.
Has been about service. It is why I entered into the ministry, and I am running for the United States Senate as a continuation of that life project. The thing about me running for the Senate is that this gives me an opportunity to work on the issues I've been working on for years. I've been fighting for access to affordable health care. I've been fighting for voting rights. I've been fighting for essential workers, ordinary people, because I know what it's like to be an ordinary person. I grew up in public housing, the first college graduate in my family of 12. I'm number 11. And if it were not for Pell Grants, low-interest student loans, I wouldn't be here. I know the importance of good federal policy.
Your goal is to work for fighting families, but what does that translate into beyond affordable housing and health care, as you just mentioned?
Well, we got to make sure that we center ordinary people in all of the policy that we do. You know, I grew up with a father and a mother who instilled into me great values. And my dad had a way of saying, get up and put your shoes on. And so he gave me this sense of a work ethic. But if I'm honest, that alone would not put me here on this stage. I mean, here's a kid who grew up in public housing. I'm running for the United States Senate against the wealthiest member of Congress.
There you go.
Only in America is that possible. And I am fighting to make sure that kids like me, whether they are growing up in public housing down in Savannah, Georgia, or rural disaffected communities in North Georgia, that they have access to the American dream that I believe so much in. And I'm concerned that Washington is not focused on...
That's how you do that, by the way. I know it's going to fall on a lot of deaf ears for people who are especially Republican, but, like, he probably is better about it than me, because I don't buy in as much to the American dream, like American exceptionalism stuff, but you're running in Georgia, you have to know who you're talking to, and you're running in America, obviously, you have to know who you're talking to. So you can turn on that American dream charm and stuff while simultaneously bringing up the fact that she is the most wealthy person in the Senate. If I'm on that stage, I'm probably going to, like, I probably wouldn't say that off jump. I'd probably maybe say something to the effect of the American dream or whatever, and it's incredible that I can do this right now. But then when she attacks me and everything, then I'd probably bring up the fact that, like, you are the wealthiest member of Congress and you haven't served ordinary people. But if I'm honest, I think his strategy just worked there because he said it, but he said it in a more positive way. You also watched the last John Ossoff debate before the general election. Was that the one where Purdue didn't show up? Because I was planning on watching that after too, depending on how long we can sit here for. I've already been streaming for an hour, right? Yeah, an hour 50.
On ordinary people, you can't tell the difference between Washington back rooms and corporate boardrooms. My opponent represents the worst of that kind of problem. And that's why I'm grateful for this opportunity.
There you go.
I'd like to respond.
Please do.
Thank you. I was born and raised on a farm. I grew up working in the fields. I waitressed my way through school, and I was the first in my family to graduate from college. I worked hard.
How much you would bet she's the oldest one in her family? I wonder how big that fucking farm is. Because just because being born on a farm does not mean that you're an ordinary person. How big is that goddamn farm? Depending on how big your farm is, they could hand out contracts and shit from various food distributors and stuff, and you could be making bank off that. And even then, doesn't matter. You're still one of the richest people in Congress, and you used your wealth and you used your power to make money off of a fucking pandemic when people were dying. I don't give a shit where you grew up. You're a shit person.
To live the American dream and became a job creator right here in Georgia. But this type of rhetoric is a distraction from the issues at hand.
Oh, he actually showed up? Okay.
The Democrats want to fundamentally change America, and the agent of change...
The farm is in my state? Ew, we need to fucking cleanse Illinois.
Opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, someone that has
what was that, like twice she said it now?
Attacked police from the pulpit, someone that has attacked our military, someone that has agreed to raise taxes on hardworking Georgians as much as $2,000 per family off the bats. That's not what Georgians need to get through this pandemic and get our economy going. I'm fighting for the American dream.
That's how taxes work. You gotta do percentages, not
Reverend,
dollars.
you're going to have an opportunity to respond to those things because I know Greg is going to get to them. It's his turn to ask you a question.
Yeah, I have a question on that same topic. You've been attacked for comments you made from the pulpit about law enforcement and the military, foreign policy, among others. You've also said they're taken out of context, but you made these remarks in a public forum. Why shouldn't Georgians take them at face value?
Look, it's clear to me that my opponent is going to work really hard, spending millions of dollars of her own money, trying to push a narrative about me, because she's clearly decided that she does not have a case to be made for why she should stay in that seat. I have worked my whole life to pull people together. I've been working on criminal justice reform. I've worked alongside law enforcement officers to do that work. Several years ago, I actually brought together the law enforcement officers here in this city, the chief of police, the Black Lives Matter activists, the sitting attorney general, families, parents, all in my church, focused on working on these issues that we've seen emerge time and time again. And we need somebody who knows how to bring people together rather than using these issues as a political point
he got
to be
Rona.
made.
Leave him alone.
These issues are tragic, and our law enforcement officers lay it on the line every day. They have an ally with me. I just think that you can affirm what law enforcement officers do and hold them accountable.
Senator Left with 30 seconds.
You know, my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock,
has
called police officers gangsters, thugs, bullies, and a threat to our children. When I gave him the chance to apologize in our first debate, he declined. He's also said that you can't serve God and the military. He's used the Bible to justify these types of attacks and make other divisive statements. What we need is someone who can bring together, that can help us get through this pandemic and rebuild our economy across this country and right here in Georgia. That's what I'm fighting to do.
Do you want to put that into context?
Sure, I'd love to respond. Listen,